Hi Tweezer fans, I'm here at the AltonCon in the UK in Alton House Hotel with a few mates of mine, and just wanted to highlight a game that's been played here. I'm here on the third day, and this game has been completed. It's the GMT game, Fields of Despair, World War One, Western Front. Well, kind of encompasses the whole war. And a couple of my mates have been playing it, just completed it, and thought I'd just add a little bit of alternative content here and have a chat about that game. So my mates here, Chris and Rob, we're just going to have a quick chat about the game. Yeah.
Right, hi. So, just finished quite late last night with Rob here, playing Fields of Despair, as introduced by Alan. And it's a game that I've had for a while, and I have actually played before, which was Rob's first go. So essentially it's a game which covers the entire Western Front, 1914-1918. In a fairly abstract way, it also covers what's happening on the Eastern Front through flagpole with little wooden cubes. And it's a game which we both thoroughly enjoyed. I mean, we played it initially on Thursday for a sort of dry run to get the rules down, which we pretty much did.
Pretty quick to learn after having made a turn's worth of mistakes.
Yes, so don't think you're going to get it right first time out the box, but that gave us the opportunity to play the full campaign. There are essentially three scenarios which run this a 9-turn game. Turns 1 to 3 are sort of the mobile parts of the war. 4 to 6 is when you start to build trenches, things slow down a lot, you need to work on your stormtroopers or tanks to make breakthroughs, and then you get the final phase of the war, and sort of the Yanks start coming in and you're trying to go for the final push. So there's a definite change in feel of the game as it goes through.
So you get a time expansion and contraction then. So then the game is the first 3 months, and then
the first 3 turns is actually the first year.
Yeah.
So when things are a lot more active and more mobile, essentially you're making a lot more ground. It covers the initial push of the Germans into France, trying to get to the Marne, essentially, if they can do that, all the ports on the sort of northern French coast. And those 3 turns basically cover just the first year. And then the next 3 turns cover 1915, 1916, and the last 3 are the last 2 years.
And are you able to, is their fixture conditions kind of change throughout those periods?
One of the things which we struggle with the most, I would say, because
it's the most sophisticated elements. You know, normally in a game, there's a system and there's victory conditions,
all the way through,
and you get it in your head and off you go.
Right.
And within really modest set of rules, not long at all, this is really 3 games rolled into one, 3 different ways of winning. And so 3 different mindsets. So just because you haven't done well on the opening moves, there's no reason to despair, because you might do well in the middle game, or might hang on tenaciously or attack tenaciously in the end game.
So is there a way for the Allies to win in the 1914?
There is. I mean, there are ways. Okay. There's a way to sort of joke sort of sudden death. Right. So you've got both the sort of long game, which you can be going for, or the sudden death. So, for example, in the sort of mobile phase of the game, the first 3 turns, if the Allies can take Paris, which is a bit of a tough gig, but we came pretty close on the first time. You're right on the Marne, right next to Paris, so it keeps the Allied mind focused, shall we say, that things can end. And equally, if the Allies decide to defend forward and prevent the Germans from entering France, they can also beat the French beat the Germans in the first.
There's a number of techniques that you've got to learn. You can't just do it out of the box. There's a number of ways for the German to attack Liège, break through to Namur, then rush off to the next to where the BEF are, and try and bounce them. And the Allies learning that actually, if they withdraw the BEF at great expense in terms of logistic points, which are conversions of economic points, which are like hen's teeth, but actually it will slow down the advance. Otherwise, the BEF gets swept aside and suddenly you're at the gates of Paris.
Okay. Oh, so there is. So there's a little bit of tailoring. So the game is built that you should kind of do what you should do, as opposed to I'll go off.
So you feel that the French definitely have to go for the sort of plan 17,
right?
Because the way that you judge victory points is if either side gets an advantage of 6 or more in the first 3 turns. In fact, the first 6 turns, as we find out, rules for possibly a third time. And essentially the Germans are picking up victory points and taking the 3 cities in Belgium, which is just one, something that you only score for once. But the other victory points, which are 1914 only in France, they score every turn. So there is that incentive that if the Germans can keep going quickly, which Roy, with some fantastically poor die rolling, managed to sort of put him a little bit behind the curve in terms of time. It meant he never quite got that push, and to sort of counter that, the French must go for some of the hexes down here as part of their sort of pre-war plan at 17.
It's very much an and game. You want to do this and this and this. So the Germans, obviously, you want to shoot off towards Paris.
But you can't not try and get the troops down here.
You need to bolster a really, really thinly held sector down the south. And ideally, you'd love to clear the channel ports as well to make it harder.
But you just can't be everywhere at the same time.
So
that's the challenge. And because there's a game of definite bluff, I mean, we've all played block games where essentially you get a block and it's got 4 values, typically between 1 to 4. Well, these can have blocks which could be a complete ghost block, which has got nothing in it, up to the strength of actually 20.
Right.
So you could be facing 3 or 60.
Or in fact 0 or 60. So because the sort of stacking is actually sort of 3 blocks in the head.
Right.
So because they could be the kind of ghost blocks, or they could have a value of 20.
So there's no particular designation of the blocks. They're not armies per se. They're just
they're just steps.
Kurt said they were divisions-ish.
Yeah, you can think of them. We've definitely talked about having divisions because it's sort of sounded better to sell. I'm now going to move 50 divisions from the Eastern Front to the Western Front.
Okay.
So you have to kind of fix the uncertainty. So you can't just, for example, attack a hex. You've got to attack the hex and attack the flanks in order to pin the flanks to stop them reinforcing the main one and surprising you. So it's surprise and counter surprise.
Okay.
We did get kind of fixated a bit into certain hexes, became classic battles, Rheims and Calais in R1, which possibly with the experience we might move around a little bit to the surprise. But
I think, but it had that. We're drawn into that World War I mindset of just one more push.
Yes,
which actually meant, but for me, as a game, it was actually working. Because if I can just get that breakthrough, and it did have that feel, so I'll give it a sort of thumbs up for that.
So, I mean, you obviously enjoyed the game, and there's a lot of positives there. Any negatives that you
I think the only thing I would say is that you've got to read not so much the rule book, but on the playbook, which goes over the various scenarios, because of the way that each scenario is scored very differently, and there's a couple of errata which you need to double check before you start playing. Otherwise, you
download the living rules.
You definitely must go off these. So just be wary of that. But in terms of what it tries to do, I think it does it very well.
And because it's so innovative, it's actually. It's not Kurt's fault. He's actually come up. I mean, it's his first game. We're super amazed. He hasn't done anything else.
We say yes. This guy's really good. Let's go and see what other games he's done because I wouldn't mind getting some of those. As he went on to Board Game Geek, it's his first and only game. So if you're out there, Kurt, we'd like to see what you're actually doing next, if anything at all.
But because he's been so innovative, it actually makes you change your mindset because as an experienced wargamer you know how wargames flow and this is different.
You kind of have to relearn some of the basics.
Because it's 3 games in one.
And that's one of the big attractions. It does play differently. And there's lots, as we all know, there's lots of games out there now that are being pushed out. Some are these are kind of badging and remaking of earlier games. These like Spiffy edition. I mean, this is 2014, I want to say. I can't remember the year now. It's a few years old now. It's currently out of print, I believe, GMT. It's on the P500. but it is lagging a bit.
Yeah, for a second print.
It's was it 160, 170 orders? So
something like that.
It's not going to come back to the market anytime soon.
So,
Which is a great shame.
worth a boost then.
Yeah.
Get a second printing of it, I'm sure. Okay, so particularly about this game, about what happened on each of your sides. What happened? Rob, what happened on the German side? Just a kind of narrative.
Little trial game the day before yesterday. I'd had a wonderful sweep, and that taught us both how to attack and also how to defend. So yesterday, I had some epically poor fortress die rolls.
Right.
The fortresses protect the infantry; they halve the infantry losses. So it made both for a slower move through into France.
And I had extra sort of strength.
And
not taking the
so his infantry was a lot stronger because the fortresses still existed, so they were still taking far fewer left. So he actually had an opportunity to counterattack in two places, his Plan 17, and also less a miracle on the Marne, more a miracle on the Somme. And at that point, I'm feeling like, oh dear, this isn't going to well, should we all pack it in and start again? And that's totally the wrong thinking, because the game suddenly changes at the end of Modern Warfare.
Right. So in that middle game, how did that go for you?
So that was close. Had I been able to capture Calais,
I think there's a time when you got very close again.
Very close.
And sometimes just getting an extra few hits, and because it's a sort of D6 system, you sort of throw buckets of dice. There's always that chance you can get those swings.
Because that didn't happen, I realised there was really no incentive for the Germans to attack during the middle game, because when you attack, you are thrown against first, you take losses first, and then you attack, so you're always behind. So the nutrition is always against the attacker. And the forts down here are super difficult to get through.
Was there any incentive to do like a Verdun, as in sort of try and
I was saying
bleed the French?
we were trying to work out if there would be a particular reason to want to do Verdun, because I understand that the thinking behind it was it would actually bleed the kind of French army white, and that would have been true to a certain extent, but I suspect that the loss, although in history it actually led to both sides, obviously, but I think it would be so much harder.
It makes no sense for
And the thing is, there is much easier things to actually pick on to sort of score points,
rather than go into the strongest fortress.
So
on the game.
why would you go up against the bit which is tough when there are much sort of softer bits to sort of poke the finger at,
When the Allies are receiving more troops every turn than the Germans, why would the Germans go for a higher rate of attrition? Makes no sense.
So you could possibly say that was.
So the middle game was kind of a draw for you, or you were just there. And late. Chris won.
Chris did grind me down. He did attack a lot, and we got to exactly on the 7th turn, which is when the Hindenburg line optionally appears. Well, actually, that's absolutely when I needed to pull back and do the Hindenburg, because my forces had been bled.
Yes, once you've got that line well set up, the Hindenburg line, when he's got his Hindenburg line, you do, as the Allies think, I've just got to grit my teeth and attack. And you actually don't want to do it because you get extra bonuses. So when you get in the trench warfare, you get additional dice thrown based on the size of the guy who's actually attacking. It sort of makes sense, big force coming over, lots of targets. So you get additionally up to 5 dice. When he's in his Hindenburg line, those extra dice are actually doubled. So not only is he firing first, he's also getting extra dice doubled. So and although the good thing about the hidden block situation as well is that both sides think they're actually weak. So,
you think you're losing.
I can possibly get together 2 decent attacks, and you've got to attack because you've got to bleed the German forces, but you just got to grit your teeth and do it. And I suspect that's the sort of mindset that they were in 1917, 18. You've just got to sort of get on and do it. And
and then it all changes with the Hindenburg line into quite aggressive requirement for the Allies to clear the Germans from France and get into Belgium.
Okay, so the pressure was on you, Chris, in that third period
to get a draw, I had to cleave out of France completely.
That's right.
And I just didn't. And you still had a hex down here in
Yeah.
France, which was well defended.
Yep.
And I had no strength down there. And yes, you can shift forces around at the end of each turn, but my strength was up in the north at the time. So the thought of being able to actually cleave out of France was never really on.
Yeah.
So, but I could get the automatic victory by taking, I think, 10 hexes in Belgium.
I made a mistake. There's one sudden death, which is
So going into
Belgium
Belgium
and Germany, and you already had 4 German hexes.
Yeah.
But the actual end of war one is Belgium only.
So
So if I'd screened and pulled
Yeah.
back and screened and pulled back, it
Yes.
probably would
I
have been a
think
draw.
you sort of pull back in one big jump,
Yeah.
whereas if you'd have come back gradually, because obviously you're aware that the kind of clock's ticking.
Yeah.
You've only got a certain number of action phases left to do it, and by pulling back, and to actually break through, you have to use it from tanks. So when you get into trench warfare in turn 4, rather than if you clear the hex, you can then break out of it on the first 3 turns to do the same breakout. Actually, costs the tanks to do that, and tanks then which is paid for on the off-map charts. So
So there was no chance of you doing a kind of Operation Michael kind of casual slap.
You're forced to do one.
Oh, you are? Okay.
But I mean, it's actually gratuitously throwing away German strength.
I think
The limited last embers of German strength
Right.
bashing their head. I mishandled it particularly, but I mean, even if I'd done it
I think you
elegantly,
think you probably
still just lose
didn't
more
select
Germans.
the best target because you still went for one which you actually knew was quite strong.
It's quite, although we did the whole thing in a day, and it's quite satisfying from that point of view, there's not much downtime. So
Yeah.
it's quite an intense, it's quite emotional, because the victory conditions are constantly changing, you're constantly engaged, constantly. So it's quite tiring.
Okay.
I certainly felt that half past 9, we finished about 9:30 last night. I felt like I'd been in a kind of war for sort of 4 years.
Right.
But not in a kind of bad way, in a way that was a really sort of good experience. We both sort of thoroughly enjoyed it.
All right. I presume you would play it again? You would recommend it? Absolutely.
Strongly.
We even, just in a kind of moment of madness, thought about playing it again today. But I just think, I don't know what state my kind of brain would be in another 12 hours of playing it. So
It's a bit too exhausted.
I'm going to go for something a bit lighter today.
Yeah.
Do something more of a sort of multiplayer
It's
option.
an absolutely fascinating day-long encounter that constantly keeps you interested and stops that thing that can often happen in games, which is if you get behind, then you're always behind and you can never really recover, and it's just a sort of slightly masochistic
I mean,
experience.
when I got the breakthrough on the Somme, the first time I'd used the tanks in 1916 on the Somme, which had a nice sort of ring to it.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, this is going to be really good now. I could be out there and almost into Belgium, but it's still early days for that, and the Germans still got a lot of strength in 1916, and you were able to fall back and hold a very strong sort of secondary line. And it was like, and it was the feeling of yes, it's all going to happen now, but it just never quite did. But yeah,
There's a lot of extra colour, there's technologies to research, there's tracks for maintenance to keep up your air force, your artillery and stuff. There's the Eastern Front, there's the naval blockade. It's not just a slugfest in the infantry. I think in hindsight, the amount that constitutes is very much on the margins. It's still the central.
it's a bit of a sort of sub game. But for me, I quite like the fact that there you have these bags that you put the chips in, and you can add to the bag with your points you get, and you can decide if you the fighting on the Russian front is done in a very abstract way, but it's kind of quite nice. You can argue that it doesn't bring that much to the game as a whole, but the fact it's there, I think that's quite nice.
It's accounted for, it's not just ignored.
Yeah, it's there, and there are reasons to sort of
It's like in a lot of games, and these sort of grand strategy games, where it's kind of usually what you see things like strategic warfare is, even though that's actually warfare. As regards to what happens, what's going on the Western Front,
you could just say,
it's
I'm not going to use that, and on turn, whatever it is, 7 or 8, I get some extra sort of points from the Eastern Front. Well, yes, they could have done that, but that adds a bit of extra kind of colour, which is quite nice.
And it allows you to tweak things. So I never went for unrestricted submarine warfare, which delayed American entry by 2 activations. So he never got the full American things.
Okay.
I'll try it the other way around next time, but it's certainly an interesting
Lots of things going on. So that's going back to when we realised that this was Kurt's first game. I don't know how long he spent actually working on it, because it's not something which would have been. And it feels well play tested.
Yeah.
It kind of feels balanced, which obviously I've only played it twice, maybe 3 times. You've just played it once all the way through, but it feels about right. You know.
It feels very mature.
Okay. Well, right. Well. Thanks for helping with the channel and explaining about the game. Looks like a good one. It's thumbs up, and I might give it a go myself sometime as well and get on that C500 as well. Thanks. Well, Chris.
Cheers, Alan.
Cheers.